What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. For episode 231, I'm going to tell you why I left the OAME executive director role. But first, for my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. However you got here, I appreciate it. Let me know. Would love to hear from you. Please submit a comment in a form of a rating or a review on wherever platform you heard this on, or maybe a social media account. That would be great. I appreciate you. Hope you enjoy the show, and please share if you do. If not, love to hear your feedback. You can also contact me at info@nwebsterllc.com. And for my worldwide faithful, loyal listeners, thank you again for joining the show. Hey, that's what's up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right. So let's get into this topic. All right. Because, oh, man, this is an interesting topic because people have asked me, like, Nathan, why did you join OAME as the ED? And then now they're asking me, why did I leave? So, you know, in all things, I have always shared my life with you in almost like 8 years of podcasting, right? Which is crazy because I don't veg on things, but I'm sure if I vegged on my podcast, I would be like cringing in so many ways. Actually, I did cringe on my very first podcast, a couple of podcasts. I went from talking from like an hour to like now you see me talk to like 10, maybe 20 minutes because I don't want to hear myself talk because I edit this. So I have 3 reasons. And before I go into my 3 reasons why I left the OAME ED role, make sure you go check out why I took the role of OAME. And let me actually bring up how many episodes that was, because it wasn't very long ago. When I think about when I recorded it, it was about, I want to say 2 months ago. I want to say, so, I want to say about 3 months ago. So I don't know. I think it was technically it was 3 months ago. But when it comes to the episodes, it wasn't that long ago because I recorded it later in the month. So if you go back to episode 20, actually it was much longer than I thought it was. I did it in 2 parts, episode 213 and 214. That was in early parts of July. And I did, again, 2 episodes for a total of 30 minutes and for both episodes. So go listen to that, check it out. Or you can also watch the video if you want to see why I decided to join the organization as the executive director. So as I want to tell you why I left OAME ED, I also want you to understand, as a marketer, I'm really a operations systems junkie, if you will, that loves marketing. And I've been in a leadership role really, oh my gosh, all my life, from doing my own paper route from back in the day when I was 14, 15, 16. It wasn't until when I got in the Marine Corps, I was immediately selected as a squad leader. And as you can tell, I don't know if y'all see my Marine Corps blanket right there. You see that? I got that when I was in Okinawa, Japan. And if you see my Iwo Jima right here, that's my honorable discharge. You know, and I have a ton of awards, right? For those that are just joining the show, this is a new background, new backdrop. I'm playing around with it. There was some sunlight out of my office. So I'm like, let me go ahead and just do that and not do the backdrop lights. And, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. There's some of my accomplishments. It's not a lot. And that's going to get into the 3 reasons why I left OAME. And I can tell you why I left OAME now and those 3 reasons. 1, there was no succession plan. Number 2, key decisions weren't being made off of finances. And number three, I nor was my expertise valued. So it's kind of like, how I was telling you how I changed the room and I've been a leader since, for like 30 plus years. It's really important to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. As an entrepreneur, we have whys that fuel us. On our marketing, we have this understanding why people consume or why people want to be engaged or why people are selecting these things. Depending on where at in the funnel, if you're a creative or you're a producer or you are a salesperson, if you're a closer, right? You have tasks that you need to do and you know why you want to do them. That why is a big thing. It's a big deal. It is a big, sometimes aha moment. That why is the very thing that drives us. And so when I took this role, initially it was because it was a great organization for what it stood for. I do say I'm unemployable, but this was something I would say, hey, look, I'd be more than willing to not make my own schedule, to not hustle and grind for my future. I'll do it because I know this in the long run would be the right thing. But this is something I wanted to share so people can hear my side. A lot of people don't even know I'm not there anymore. But number two, I think it's important for both marketers and leaders. And I say marketing as I am a marketer. Here's where like a lot of people don't know that I left the OAME as an organization and the leader of the organization is because OAME's marketing sucks. Here's the I would say the evolution of business. At one point in time, you can been the best kept secret and it was perfectly okay. It was no big deal. Matter of fact, it was a compliment. Okay. If people didn't know about you and they were like, why did I haven't heard? You can build that scarcity FOMO of where I need to know more. Tell me what you got. Give me it. I'll buy it, before it goes out of stock or, you know what I'm saying? That whole scarcity tactic, just kind of like when you're in the grocery store and you have that Snickers or that candy bar or that magazine you want to get, right? Let me back up because I don't want to go too far too deep because that why is all the reasons why I left. First and foremost, when I talk about not a succession plan, and wait, last thing. I don't also, this is not a bashing of the organization. This is not a bashing of the leaders. This is not a bashing of any of the members. I want to be clear to make sure I tell you that I still love that organization to pieces. I still want that organization to be successful, and I still enjoyed every single thing that I did there, and I pray it lives on forever and ever. But the organization been around for 37 years, and there's, I can't top that. Nor do I want to. The organization had a role in the community, and I give it all its praise. And so when I move into this role, going to why I left, three things: no succession plan, decisions, key, critical, monumental decisions that were not made off of any financial data was huge. And then number three, nor was my expertise valued. And sometimes it felt very malicious. It wasn't planned out. But let me just tell you, as as a leader or as a business owner, in my opinion, if you don't have a succession plan of some sort, it doesn't have to be perfectly laid out, perfectly articulated. You can even get one from AI nowadays. But you cannot transition leadership without things documented. You don't need to have a business plan. It would be helpful, but not everyone has a business plan. You can use the business model canvas, and I actually use that in my business. I even said something in my LinkedIn about strategizers business model canvas. Go use that. I'll put it in the show notes. It's super important, and you have to identify your key target, as in your avatar. Who is your ideal customer? OAME, OAME stands for Oregon Association of Minority Entrepreneurs, which at one point in time, it was focused on building up minorities as entrepreneurs in the trades. We stopped doing that as an organization. So it was really hard to understand, like, Which way should I go? How am I supposed to do this? Number two was the key decisions, just they weren't being made in a healthy way that had any sort of data that made sense that we were doing this. It was just based off of, it is what it is. It's what we've done in the past. But you need to have a profit and loss statement that's going to show you, is not what you're doing now. It's what you did in the past. Our profit and loss is going to tell you, man, this product is selling or this service is not doing so good. We might have to stop selling, stop buying, getting inventory. It's not working. Your cash flow, how much cash flow do you have to maintain to pay your bills? And balance sheet those are the three key documents, and balance sheets for your assets. Like, what assets is the company worth? As an individual entrepreneur or business owner, a sole proprietor, I messed that up. A sole proprietor, they may not have those assets, but it's okay. At least what your assets are, but that also shows your liabilities too, like if you have any credit or loans. And at the end of the day, we were not using any technology to track our transactions, basically our inputs to give us the output of reports to make these quick decisions, so that we had a dashboard to use to leverage. And we didn't have that, which is very unfortunate. And that just comes back to the inability to create a succession plan. And that's where things started to get rough. Last but not least, again, this is, not bashing. I'm just keeping it real, as in I'm telling my truth. I'm telling you what I went through. When I say nor was my experience valued, this was pretty tough for me. And this was, I would say, from day one. I did not get the things that I was asking for, say specifically pay. I didn't get the pay that I wanted, but it was okay. Nonprofits don't have a lot of money, right? But you can get more money if you do the right things. You can earn it. That's not a problem. But then other things started to happen. And there's a saying by Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, Dr. Eric Thomas, as some folks know. He's one motivational speaker I love because he also is a preacher. And I love that. But he says something that's super important that I think it doesn't matter who you are, as if you're an entrepreneur or a leader or a worker, it doesn't matter. You need to go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And I was not celebrated when I came in. I was tolerated. I had to work for every ounce of respect, not one. And again, like I showed you, here's some of the things I've accomplished, right? I just hung up these degrees. I did not have them hanging up. If you follow me on Facebook, I took them out of my shirts because I did have them hanging up in my old office like 10, 15 years ago, and then I took them down, and I haven't put them back up. And as I put them back up, not just for me. I needed a backdrop, but also for my kids to see. Sometimes, and this is one of the things that I will say that is important when you are an entrepreneur, especially a sole proprietor entrepreneur, that you work by yourself, say in a home office like mine, right? A lot of people just don't know what goes on with you, or they don't know what you've accomplished. You have no trophy case to show them. We live in a digital world unless you put this in the backdrop, right? And so when I was talking to my kids earlier, a couple of months ago, they were like, "Dad, can you please send a picture of your Marine Corps photo to let the people." And it was just basically send your Marine Corps photo. And the reason why is there's a assembly at the end of the week where you celebrate veterans in November for Veterans Day. I'm like, man, I don't care about that. But I had to realize that it wasn't about me. It was about them. And sometimes what we fail to understand is that your success is not just for somebody like yourself, or excuse me, it's not just for yourself. It's for someone that is like yourself, someone that is been looking up to you, or is looking at you, or is soon to be looking at you, and they want to know, what have you accomplished? What have you succeeded at? And so the last kind of thing that I wasn't valued, or neither was my expertise. I wasn't given the full authority to lead the organization. I was just they took my ideas, they took my work I did on the social media, the website, and they took and took and took and took and took, and I was okay because I'm okay earning my share through sweat equity and my expertise, my knowledge, my wisdom, my social capital. I get it. However, at some point in time, we all need to make a transition to where we're going to do what's right for the organization. And I didn't feel that was happening. So that's why I left. And so if you're still listening to me by this point in time, you really do want to know what was going on, what happened. And people say, now, what do you do? I'm back to being the business owner, being a marketing and organizational consultant that I am. I love client acquisition work. I love helping people find who is going to be their best customer. I love helping people understand their COGS. I love breaking down the systems to processes to task and help them understand where they can stay in their value proposition, what they love best. And I do what I do best, right? So I love that. And it's such joy to see, especially working with small business. More than likely, it's going to be a couple, but to see them pay their bills, man, there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. I've had many people to cry, and I'm not, but tears of joy, like the explanation. I mean, the feeling is unexplainable. It's truly unexplainable of how you can help someone just off of your experiences and what you can do. And this is some of the things like I bring. Here's my my business model canvas. Here's the avatar. What is your customer avatar template that I bring? I have this form that I say at the end of the day, because I talk about branding. I talk about, I want you to be able to run an impactful ad. That's what I say right here. The goal is to run an impactful ad. The goal is to run an impactful ad because your time is valuable. So, and it's funny now that it's getting dark. There we go. It changed back. So I left OAME, and I didn't want to leave OAME in the way I did, but I left it in a way that it could be better. And I, again, wish OAME the greatest. I love the organization's work. I love the organization's impact. I just don't, and I did not, will I stand for bad business, because bad business hurts other businesses. So that's why I left. And if you want to know more, and of course, if you want to know more in the aspect of how not to leave that succession planning off to the wind, or if you want some help to figure out what does that look like when it comes to the business model canvas or building that system that works for you, because we're not even just the digital era, we're in the AI era where you can automate. Oh my gosh, I used to talk about automate and duplicate all the time. That is the bread and butter of everything. So that's why I left OAME, and I'm grateful for the experiences. I have no regrets. So I know you might say, are you okay? They're like, yeah, I'm good. Moving on to the next best thing, because the rest, as ET would say, the rest of my life is going to be the best of my life. So with that, I hope this has been beneficial. If it has, please subscribe to the show. If you don't want to subscribe, can you please leave a review or share? Tag me in it. Follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn. I should say the company more so. But on LinkedIn, you can follow me on Instagram, on TikTok as well. So until then, the next episode that I drop for 232, I hope this information has been helpful, educational, and most of all applicable. And so I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. I'm out. Hey, if you're hearing this message You've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in this topic. And also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or social media networks. See you next week for the next episode.